Greetings and welcome back to the lab. Time for another quick project. At least I hope it's going to be quick. So I don't know if you're going to remember all of this. This was the spider web that I got for Halloween that lights up, and this was the controller, and I was wondering if I could hack it. Well, I've got a bit of a plan, so let me get that out of the way and hopefully not drop too many things while I'm doing that. All I'm going to really need right now is just the controller, and because I'm going to replace the battery or bypass the battery. So the plan is I've got it says solar light bulb. It's actually just all of the light bulb related circuit boards, and this is the one that I had that came with the battery box parts. And so this is part of the battery box. I need 3 more of those. Let's see if I can figure out what I did here. How did I cut it? Oh, there it is. Okay. So let's just grab a bunch of them, and that's probably more than I need. But, so the idea with the battery box, quickly here, is it's designed so that I can, there is a slot on one end and a tab on the other, so I can basically take this and build a box by sliding them together with all the flat sides up. There we go. And then the last one might be a little bit tight, but I can piece that together. Oops. Now, yeah, it's not mechanically going to hold itself together all that well, but if I build the basic box, I can then, with the tabs that are on here, stick it into this board here, and that will help keep it all together. Now, I'm actually going to have to come on. Yeah, that's basically it. Now, I don't want to pull it together completely yet because I need one more component, which is this right here. Once I've got that, then I can tap off of it. That is the battery protection. So let me go get one of those. And here's what that looks like. I buy them on kind of a bandolier, a sheet, depending on how you want to look at it. This is how they're manufactured. It's actually just all stuck to this one board. There's probably another board that runs across there, and then they've got the nickel strips attached to them. So I'm just going to snap one off. There we go. And so you can buy these in 5, 10, you could buy 50 of them. You could probably buy 1,000 if you looked enough, but basically I use them whenever I'm using my lithium-ion batteries, which I harvest. Here's an example of one, and I'm actually looking forward to, soon I'm going to have the ability to do a reliable version of a test to see what capacity, but I have to be careful how I say where I get these, because I'll get the video taken down or flagged for something, because it comes from those devices that people use when they need a bit more nicotine or chemicals, and it creates a vapor. So hopefully that tells you what I'm talking about. Those things contain these rechargeable batteries, so I started going out walking and just hunting for them. I don't use them myself, but once I knew that they existed and people were just tossing them on the side of the road, I was like, all right, excuse to go walking. So anyway, so that will then fit within here. This was designed to fit nice and neatly with an 18350 or anything really 350. It's 35 millimeters from here to here. It's actually a little bit loose, so I could probably redesign these and knock off like 1 millimeter and make it that much better, or I could figure out how to pad this out, or I could Here's one remaining one. I could put a bubble of solder on top of these pads, something along those lines. But the plan is I'm going to take this, I'm going to build that, then I'm going to run a couple of wires and connect it to the controller. So let's just dive into this and get this going. I need to put the the protection circuit on, and I need to check where battery minus and battery plus are. Because the plus happens to be on this side, I need to match it up to here, which actually the pluses are on that side, so I need to flip it over this way. And then another thing I'm going to have to deal with is on the back side of this, and maybe I can zoom in post so you can see, but let me grab something to point with. This is going to be odd. But there's these two little solder blobs. Those are the corresponding for this. So what I'll probably do is put solder here, and then I'm going to try and create a bridge from here to there. Otherwise I got to put wires, and it just gets kind of messy. I've done this a couple of times. I have a rough idea what I'm doing. So I'm just going to dive into this and go. And when I'm done, I'll come back. All right, I know the pros, or the really experienced people with soldering, are screaming at the screen going, oh, you're doing that all wrong. And it was tough, and I had it backwards at first, and then now that I had kind of dirty solder joints, it didn't really want to sit down right. I think I finally got it. So now I can actually put this on. Now, actually, the interesting thing about this whole construction is it doesn't matter what orientation I put it in, as long as the tabs are facing down. So let's see if we can get this on here. There's going to be a little bit of a fight. Now, I should also point out, I should put these up on the website now that I think of it, but there are little holes here, and that is so that you can actually, once you push it through, you can stick like a little offcut from one of your resistors or something like that as a sort of a lock to keep it in. But it turns out it's actually holding pretty well just as a friction fit. Also, I should point out, I've got the pluses here and I got minuses down here because this is the negative side of the battery. Before I put this on, I'm going to grab a marker, because I discovered that once you put it all together, it's really hard to see the plus and the minus. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this. Like that, so it's easier for me to tell which side is negative. And then we'll try and squeeze this puppy on there, or push it through, or whatever term you want to use. Now, it may require just a little bit of finesse to get it in, but that's the beauty of a friction fit, is it goes in there really good. But I'm not going to rely only on that. I am actually going to solder it, because I need to make sure that I make connection. Almost got it. And I could have done something a little differently. There are, these are the main sort of pads that the battery's going to connect to, but these little pads here are what gets soldered on, so you have an electrical connection, not just a mechanical. I tried to do it in such a way that when you pushed it in, it created the electrical connection, but as good as the tolerances are, it just doesn't quite work that way. And there's a satisfying snap. It is in. Now, I need to, I don't know if you noticed, but the slots there actually have an electrical, a tinned pad to connect to. So now I'm going to attempt to solder these on. Just got to get some heat in the joint and get it to connect to that pad, which unfortunately is not something that I can really show on camera. Not easily, anyway. Yeah, that's a solder blob. That's not... That's better. That's not the best way to solder. Dropping the solder in and then smoothing it. It's better to get the solder to actually suck itself into the joint. Which is kind of what I'm trying to do, but it's really fiddly like this. Especially when you're trying to get to the inside of the box. Which makes me think maybe the redesign needs to have it on the outside of the box. Have a pad on the outside that you can connect to. A little more solder going in there. I'm hoping that's made a contact. There is a fairly easy way to figure this out. See if I got it right. That is with the multimeter. Wow, that is an ugly looking solder joint, but if it works, it works. So the key here should be, if I remember this right, and I'm going to go back to beep mode here, continuity, like that. And so the big pad should actually, on the plus side, should connect to there. I'll check the other pad. That one seems to be electrically connected. Then we're going to check the negative side. No connection. Interesting. Negative is not connecting. Wait a minute. Have I got this backwards? Should it be connecting to the negative side of this? Alright folks, there was a lot of confusion there because I haven't built one of these in a little while and I kind of forgot how things work. But if you think about it, these particular units are set up with these long extensions so you can wrap it around an 18650, but in my case it's shorter than that. And so you basically attach these leads to the battery itself, and then there's the ones behind it underneath. Those two go out. That's your output. That's your protected output. So that's what I need to do, is ultimately I need to put a couple of wires on here and tap in right there, and that will allow me to then go to the controller. And I can then use this, which is another one that I built, which is my charger, and I have my charging system, my alternate charging system, which has two little pins that I can hang this off of, and it charges the batteries when they're sitting in here. And as an indicator, I have a little green light. I can get this to go in. There we go. There's the little green light, and that tells me that the battery is installed properly. So now what I need to do is tap into these two here and run a couple of wires across to the other piece. Let's get that done. Nice. Okay. That was the whole point of this thing. Now let's get the mess of wires, which I'm going to have to straighten out. Oops, sorry about that. And let's stick a battery in. Negative, positive. I need to remark that. But if I've done it right, now the controller doesn't, it's off initially, so let's see. No? Wah. Didn't work. Let's just try again on the other side. See if there's just somehow a thing with that. Did I get them backwards? There's plus. There's plus. That didn't come off. There's minus. Moving it around doesn't seem to do anything to it. Well, that's not wonderful. It probably just needs to be reflowed. Sometimes these little projects become more complicated. Could it be? Huh. Am I getting any voltage out of there? Let's just see if this battery has any voltage. Four volts. Alright, it's been a couple of weeks. It occurred to me in the midst of doing all of that I was working on multiple projects, Christmas stuff happening, that I didn't record the final resolution. So I just wanted to do a follow-up here to let you know I did get it working and show it to you. So here I've actually put it in a tin. I was putting Christmas lights away and editing the video and realized that I didn't do the follow-up. So let's pull this out and let's find a battery we can stick in there. And just like that, we have some batteries. I'm going to pick a low value battery here. I have them kind of sorted. I've been going through and testing my batteries with my new tester. That's a whole other story. But let's see if we can't put this in. We can't. So let's move to the next one. Now I've still got the negative here. So I should be able to stick this in here. That should make contact. And I should be able to turn it on. Now, this is more Halloween mode. What I ended up doing for Christmas was untangling this mess. Actually, my sister-in-law had to come along and help me. I'm not very good at that. She kind of rescued me on that one with everything else that was going on. And it turns out that I think it's like the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, I think, no, not 7, maybe it's 8, is just a solid color. I think actually, no, I had a different one. Anyway, the end resolution here did not involve, oh yeah, it did involve the jumper. So that was the question, was whether or not I needed the jumper. It was required. I got the wires hooked up. Everything's kind of buttoned up, sort of, but it'll run off the battery now. So I can put 2 batteries in there. I get twice the capacity. It ran good for about a week and just constantly. It didn't even shut off at night. I had the batteries. I had all of this out. I had the batteries in here and I had the cover. This is why I got this. It was so that I could do this and pretty much protect, weatherproof the battery, leaving this out to be rained on, but it survived. And yeah, so it's up and running. Oh, that's probably not in frame. There you go. It's up and running, and I did get it done. And the key was, in this particular case, that jumper. So, sorry for the weird sort of discontinuity here, but I wanted to be able to wrap up this video and let you know I got it working. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.